Well, hello and welcome. It's just 1 minute past 12, and I think we will crack on and welcome to the UK National Contact Centre Awards 2021. I know some of you have been involved in the awards before, but this might be new to quite a few of you. So hopefully over the course of the next 45 minutes or so, we shall be able to give you lots of information, lots of advice, and lots of help to take you on this new journey for 2021. So who am I? My name is Leigh Hopwood. I am the CEO here at the CCMA. Some of you may know Anne-Marie Stagg, who was the CEO here at the CCMA for about 21 years. And she stepped back, she retired back in the summer. And at that point I took over. I have been involved with the CCMA for many, many years. I've worked very closely with Anne-Marie, in particular over the last 7 years, from a marketing perspective. I've been working in marketing for 20 odd years, and that's how I've really got to know the CCMA really well. So I am delighted to be in this position, and if anybody's following me on LinkedIn, you'll also see just how passionate and heartwarming it is to see the impact that the awards programme has on the industry and those working in it. So I feel really privileged to be in this position and to be able to take you through the journey over the course of the next 6 or so months, and also today. So just to touch on that, a little bit of my background is as a marketer by trade. I have entered awards before. I've judged on awards before. I've judged on the European Contact Centre and Customer Service Awards. I've judged on marketing awards. I've judged on customer service awards. I have written entries. I've advised organisations on how to enter, what to enter, and the entries that I've written have been winning entries. So I have got a little bit of experience that I'm going to draw on as we go through the next 45 minutes. Supporting me today is Jackie, and I'm sure that many of you know Jackie, certainly if you've been involved in any of our awards programs. So I shall introduce you to Jackie in a while. So what we're going to go through over the next couple of slides, in fact, I just need to make sure that I can move the slides on. So we are going to, sorry. I'm learning. So we're going to go through a number of things today. We're going to take a look at the categories and give you some advice to how to go through that nomination process. We've also got 2 previous winners and 2 judges with us, and I shall introduce you to those in the course of the session. And we'll also talk a little bit about the awards evening and point you in the direction of where you can get some help and advice. So what are these awards? So the UK National Contact Centre Awards are the longest running awards. They're 26 years old this year. Critically, they are the awards in the industry that recognise individuals, teams and organisations, but we have a really real focus on people and what people are achieving in the industry. I think it's fair to say it's already got a great reputation for being really robust in its judging process. And as a result, we really do find those winners. We really do take time to make sure that we're identifying those that have really gone above and beyond over the last 12 or so months. And one of the ways that we do that is through having an expert judging panel. And for those of you that are familiar with the awards, Anne-Marie Stagg was our chair of the judges. And I'm pleased to announce hot off the press that next week we will be properly announcing that we have appointed 6 head judges. And I am so pleased that these 6 judges who have been involved in the awards programme for a very long time, they come with bags of experience And they are going to be working with us to make sure that we retain the integrity that the awards programme has, and support us going into 2022 around categories, and also judging processes and all those things. So it's a bit of a step change for the awards, but delighted to have our 6 head judges on stream. So just looking back at the awards in 2020, as I'm sure some of you have been reflecting on what on earth happened in 2020, it was our 25th year, and we weren't expecting to celebrate it in a virtual sense, but we did. And I think it's fair to say it went down really, really well. So we had 239 entries from nearly 90 organisations, and both large and small. I think one of the key things around these awards is that it doesn't matter how large your organisation is, what we're looking for is really pulling out the best of the best. And so it really doesn't matter whether you are managing a contact centre of 10, 20 FTE, or whether you are managing a contact centre of hundreds. We're looking for the best people. Obviously we've entries from all sorts of different sectors and different contact centre types. And last year we had 28 categories, and we aim to shortlist around 8 organisations per category. There's some flex in that, but that's where we try and land. And last year, because of the pandemic, judging took place virtually for the first time. We will do virtual judging again this year, because of the timing of the timing of the awards, and obviously not wanting to put anybody at risk. So so very much the judging will be virtual again this year, and we had last year 48 volunteer judges. They are judges that are handpicked and come to our attention because what they have achieved in their careers leading contact centres. So so it's a huge thanks to all of our judges. They do an amazing job, and the feedback that we get around how they just they make you feel at ease when you are presenting your stories. So yeah, delighted to have our judges on board. When we did the ceremony and we went virtual, we played out through YouTube, and on the night of the ceremony we had over 1,000 people watched literally from start to finish, which was fantastic. And since then we've had over 11,000 views of the ceremony, so it's gone viral, I like to think. So that's really good news, but there were a lot less hangovers than if we were going live. Ooh. There we go. Ooh, sorry. So we have some new categories this year, but let me, hopefully you can all see the categories that are on screen. They are focused on people, and we'll be looking at all of the nominations that come through. Sometimes we get asked things like Contact Centre Manager of the Year. It appears that there's only one category. When we get the nominations through, we assess what's going on, and we may well split that category into Contact Centre Manager of a small contact centre and Contact Centre Manager for a large contact centre, for example. So we are obviously looking at the individuals in the blue box at the top of the screen. We're looking for individuals that have gone above and beyond in their specialist areas. And in this section, we have introduced 2 new categories. One is Contact Centre Leader of the Year. And I just want to help distinguish between Contact Centre Manager and Contact Centre Leader. What we're looking for in the contact centre leader is someone who has overall strategic responsibility for the contact centre, and they will have a real passion for empowering and inspiring their teams. They will champion the contact centre within their business. And this is distinctly different to the Contact Centre Manager of the Year, in that the leader will be a head of function or director, and as I say, be in that strategic role. And the contact centre manager of the year will have operational responsibility for the day-to-day running of the contact centre. Of course, we couldn't let this year go by without recognising our unsung heroes. And the winners of this category will have demonstrated the empathy, the resilience, and the flexibility to deal with the last 12 months. And I'm sure you've all got all sorts of people that spring to mind. The one piece within here, just as a check, is that this category is open to people in a management role. So it's just bear that in mind when you're thinking about who to enter. In the team categories, we are looking for obviously brilliant L&D and digital teams, and we're obviously looking for the support team that has provided outstanding operational support in the last 12 months, and the business improvement team that has delivered sustainable improvements by identifying issues and deploying those solutions that have worked in 2020. And I'm sure with what we've been through, there are a number of teams that you are thinking absolutely qualify for that, for those categories. And then we have the organisation categories, and these are really looking for businesses where the people agenda is a real high priority. So as well as looking for those with the best diversity and inclusion culture and a fantastic colleague engagement programme, we're also going to be looking for those that have risen to the challenge in the last 12 months to either improve or adapt an excellent health and wellbeing programme, or have adapted their approach to home working and recruitment and onboarding. And I think it's worth noting that in the most effective recruitment initiative category, the judges will be looking for a great recruitment and or onboarding initiative. And it's really recognising that that part of the process has really had to adapt, and it's had to change in the last 12 months. So who's doing it really well? And I'm sure there's loads of stories out there around that. So, so we've got those three new categories. We have obviously retained the most positive impact on the community category, and we're really inviting nominations from those that have supported local communities and charities. That's what the category has always been about. And we're also recognising that therefore this may well be you're looking at what you've achieved and what you've done for your local community in the last 12 months through the pandemic. So this is where some of your outreach campaigns and programmes may well sit. And finally, for the first time, and I'm clearly quite excited about this one, is we are looking for the contact centre of the year. Critically, and this is where it may differentiate from this award in any other category, any other awards programme in the industry, is that we are looking for the contact centre that has an impressive culture, with colleagues that have the tools to do their job, the flexible working practices, especially now, a really safe and a healthy environment, a learning environment that is diverse and it's engaging, and where colleagues feel really valued. So that's really what we are looking for in the contact centre of the year. And so hopefully one or more of those categories is really striking a note with you. So if we look forward to the stages of the judging, there's two parts. The first is going through the online nomination, and Jackie will talk you through that in a moment. And once those all the nominations are in and we've hit the deadline of the 31st of March, then we will be looking at those nominations. We'll be consulting with our judges, and we will inform all those that have nominated within 4 weeks, so by the end of April. And stage 2 is if you have been selected as a finalist, then you will meet the judges, and you will have an interview with the judges. And that interview is slightly different depending on whether you are in an individual, team or organisation category. And loads more information around the two stages of judging is available in our toolkit, which will be available and we will be sending out to you this afternoon. And it'll also be available online on our website. So Let me give you some advice on going through that early stage, where you're at maybe now, in terms of going through the nomination. I would strongly encourage you to do this as a team. I know many people in organisations get landed the job. Can you enter the awards? And you're maybe not sure where to start. I'd encourage you to engage with your teams, share what the awards are, share what the categories are, involve your key stakeholders, and talk about actually where can you really get the most out of the awards. I would encourage to have that one person who is your key coordinator, and they can be your key point of contact. And I'm not quite sure why that moved on. It may be that you decide to bring your key stakeholders together and you hold a workshop to identify those best nominations. And the kind of things that you might want to reflect on in that workshop are things like, who would you like to thank? Who do you want to recognise? Which individuals have really stood out in the last year? Who excelled in their year-end appraisals? And what are you really, really proud of? What you've delivered in the last 12 months? And of course, who are those unsung heroes in the contact centre? And the fifth point there, go for it. Whenever we ask finalists and our judges, what would be the key advice that you would give to anybody that's thinking about entering these awards? And the one thing that comes out every time is just go for it. And so it's, so go for it. So Jackie, if I may, I'm going to hand over to you to take us through the next few slides.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So I'm just requesting access to the slides, so that's great. I've got that now. So thanks, Leigh. So yeah, I think a lot of what Leigh said there, I did just notice that there was a question come up, so I'm just going to answer that now at this stage. It was a question about the support team. And I guess the answer, it's a bit like when Leigh talked about the Contact Centre Manager of the Year. When we see what nominations we get, we will split that category. So it can be an IT team, it could be any team that supports that contact centre, so a communications team, a data analysis team, and any team in the back office that's supporting the front office. So I hope that clears that up for you. And the other thing that I would just say from the advice that Leigh's just given you is it is okay to nominate yourself, and plenty of people do that. So please don't think that isn't okay, because it is. And do make sure that you maximise those internal communication opportunities. I know that some organisations even put dates in people's calendars, for example, might be going to the brewery, panel judging, etc. And so that's a really nice way to do it. And make sure that you share internally who's been nominated, who's been a finalist, and of course who's won when we get to that stage of the process as well. So yeah, just wanted to sort of give a few reminders about that as well. So yeah, we never extend the deadline, so please note that deadline of the 31st of March, because it is really important. For some reason I can't control my slides, sorry, that's why I'm hesitating. So it's free to enter for CCMA members, and if you're not a member and you are interested in joining so that you would get the entries free, then please let us know. You might want to do that this month, because you would also have the opportunity to benchmark your contact centre against 20 metrics for free as well. I think that benchmarking window is only open for another 2 to 3 weeks, so please don't hesitate to get in touch with Sarah or through myself if that's something you're interested in, and there is more information on the website. If you're not a member, then of course we'd still love to have your entries, and lots of previous winners haven't been members, and we absolutely welcome them from everywhere. So there is just a small charge of £199 for the first entry if you are not a member, and then it would be £99 for each additional entry. And we'll invoice those on the 1st of April when we can see how many entries you've got and whether you are members or not. So that's the way that that will work. Okay. So the nomination process itself, it's really, really simple and it's really, really easy. So you go to the UK Contact Centre Awards website. It's not the CCMA website, but you can get to it through there. So it's the UK Contact Centres Awards.co.uk and go to the Enter page. It should take no longer than 30 minutes and it's all online, like I say, through the awards website. So on the first page, excuse me, you can tick on any of these red boxes, either the individual award, team award, organisation award, or the Get Started Here box, and that will take you into the first thing that you need to do. So the first place you'll land is this page, and this is where you will either register or log in if you've already registered. Very straightforward, just some basic details, shouldn't be very complicated at all. Once you're in, you will come to this page, and basically you've got like your own little personalised dashboard, and I'll show you this again at the end when it's got some test entries in there. But basically you will always see a summary of your entries here and some information down the right hand side. So when you're in here, you then start your nomination by selecting one of the main categories. Is it an individual, is it a team, or is it an organisation award? When you press that button, it will take you to this page. Now, so this is the page where we want the details of the nominee. So the person that you're nominating, sorry, the team that you're nominating, or the organisation that you're nominating. And this will look different depending on which of those category families you have picked. It will also ask if you're a CCMA member or not, so that we know whether we need to invoice you at the end of the process. You can come back, so if there are any fields that you're not sure of the answer to yet, you can put to be confirmed, a load of gobbledygoo, you can put zeros in there, to complete, or whatever you want, just to force it through the process, because you can come back to these entries right up until the 31st of March to keep updating them. So very, very straightforward. Okay. Then we're going to ask you some details of the nominator. Again, just very straightforward questions that you'll be very able to answer. And then we get to the questions. So there are just 2 questions to answer. So make them good ones is my advice. There is a 750 word limit on each one. And obviously you're going to hear in a minute from a couple of judges about what they're looking for. But my advice is, make your content really clear, make it specific, make it easy to read, don't use any jargon, and make it compelling so that the judges really get your attention and really tell your story. But yeah, just 2 questions, whatever the category. And so that really gives you a good license to go for it there. And then you have got the option to add links to website pages, videos, documents. So you might want to attach things like an organisation chart. Sometimes that can be really useful, just to give the judges context of where that team, or where you as an individual, or where that programme of activity was associated with. So I get quite a lot of questions about the structure chart, and well, what do you mean an organisation chart? How far up do you want me to go? How far down where do you want me to go? And I just say, if you're going to include it, just make it relevant so that the judges can understand where either you sit or that activity sits within an organisation. So hopefully that's helpful. You might want to attach some surveys. So if you've got some engagement, employee engagement results, or you've got some customer satisfaction results, or some surveys, or some performance results, you might want to attach things like that. So my other piece of advice would make sure that any links or documents are relevant. Yeah, this is where you would do that. And then you can save and submit your entry. And like I say, you can update that entry until midnight on the 31st of March. And it will, it's the one that we've got on record on the 1st of March, on the 1st of April, sorry, that we will take through to judging. And then at the end, this is that dashboard that I said we would come back to. So at the end then, what you will have is a summary of your nomination. And then if you want to keep adding more entries or view your entries, then you would do that on this right-hand side of this page. So hopefully you can see that it's really easy, no blockers there. So hopefully that 30 minutes isn't, you know, I'm not cutting it short. Okay, so with no further ado, let's hear from a couple of our winners. So first of all, can I invite Jane from Emovis to join me on camera? So afternoon, Jane.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. And I know you had snow yesterday. I'm not quite sure whether you're snowed in again today, but thank you for taking the time out to join me. So Jane, you're from Emovis, and last year here was a beautiful photo of Sarah handing you your gold trophy for you won Best Diversity and Inclusion Programme as an organisation, and you were the nominator of that nomination. And you also won bronze for Most Effective Employer Engagement Programme. So congratulations once again to you.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to ask you, what attracted you to these UK awards in particular, Jane?
It's fairly easy, to be fair. We obviously went out and had a look through the market and see what there was available. We wanted to benchmark ourselves as a company. And the reason why we chose these ones is because they are recognised within the industry, and they've got a very good reputation, and we liked what we saw. So we thought, you know, we want to enjoy that and participate. We've also now since been a CCMA member as well, and we also to participate in these groups, which we find very useful as well. So the overall package for us was really useful for Emovis.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. And I know I've just touched on it there, but you did enter multiple categories. Yeah. So how do you, as an organisation, decide which category to enter and which people to enter?
So it's really echoing what you and Leigh have both said. It's about involving the team, looking at what we've done in the past year and understanding where we've got a good story to tell. What have we done that we can tell the industry, and what have we done differently? So for example, last year we won the Best Diversity Inclusion Programme. We're looking at, well, what else can we do this year to put ourselves in the category for next year as well? So it actually gives us a bit more energy to look at extra things as well that we can do, and we can learn things as well across the businesses as well. But certainly for us, it's around looking at what we've done and where we've got a great story to tell, and where can we benchmark ourselves across the business.
Thank you. And have you got any tips for people that are thinking of taking part, Jane?
Yeah, again, team has to be a team. It cannot, you need to involve the team and get them all involved. As a business, we involve right through from our CSRs right through to our CEO around the submissions and the celebrations of them as well, which will come on to later, hopefully. But it's a very simple process. Don't be scared of it. Make sure you explain or tell the story about your business. Avoid jargon. They just remember, the judges don't know anything about your business, don't know what you do. And be proud around what it is that you deliver, the service or the individual that you are nominating.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, you touched on it being easy there, and I know we've talked about how you chose your sort of categories and your people. When you get to the judging, how do you kind of prepare for any presentation or interview? How does that part of the process work for you?
It can be quite scary, as anyone is. You feel like you're having an interview, but it's not. The judges are very friendly, put you at ease, talk you through the process. And we, certainly from my point of view, and when we've been presenting, it's hard sometimes to keep the time because you want to tell everybody about everything that's going on, but you need to plan, you need to prepare. And again, you share that experience and tell the judges and avoid that jargon and tell them exactly what it is and how you do things.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Jane. And I know we were virtual and you weren't sort of led up to that stage and announced, but hopefully you still got that lovely warm glow when your name was read out as the winner. So, you know, where were you and how did you feel when you won, and what have you done to celebrate as an organisation as well? Sorry, a few questions in one there. That's very
No, it's fine. We were very proud. Emovis is very proud about winning the awards. I mean, even just to get to the finals, that is, you know, that's a proud moment. And then to get a trophy at the end of it, even better. For us, we invited 60 of our employees across both sites, across Leeds and Mersey. And we sent them all gift boxes. And in those gift boxes, there was a little drink of alcohol and a Just Eat voucher, so we could have a virtual meal together and watch the awards over Teams. So we actually had a Teams party and celebrated the success from there, which was really good. And the feedback that we got from the staff was really good as well.
Oh, brilliant. And I know that, you know, when Sarah came in to give the trophy, and I know because you are members, we talked to you quite a lot, and I know that still sort of riding on that high and glowing from the success, and it has just been lovely in the difficult times we're going through. Absolutely. To have that lovely sort of positivity, isn't it? So
absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks for sharing all that, Jane. Thanks for coming on again and giving the advice, not just about the process, but, you know, what the win's done for you as well. So thanks again, and good luck for this year if you're entering again this year. So
we are, and thank you.
I shall talk to you soon. Thank you, Jane. Thank you. So can I now invite Chris to join me? And you will see here, I was lucky enough to be able to present Chris with his trophy. Unfortunately, we had to meet under social restrictions, so we found a beer garden fairly locally, and we had a socially distanced glass of wine, and I was able to hand over the trophy, which was absolutely lovely. So thanks, Chris, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Jackie. It's great to be here. It's very exciting again as we get to this time of the year.
And just to clarify, Chris, because I know that you are known as the winner of the Complaints Manager of the Year working for Co-op Insurance, but we have Marcus Uddy on the screen here. So can you just explain that for me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Some of you probably know, some of you won't know. Over the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, Co-op was in the process of setting up its insurance division. And Marcus Uddy was the organisation that's purchased that book. So as of the 3rd of December, myself plus many of my team, in fact all of my team, are now employees of Marcus Uddy Group. So we're just in the process now of getting really excited, getting our hands dirty and integrating with our new colleagues in the business. So yeah, that's the change.
Brilliant. And Marcus Uddy got themselves as part of that insurance book a gold Complaints Manager of the Year. So weren't they clever? So Chris, did you nominate yourself, or did your colleagues nominate you?
No, it was my my wonderful team really that were behind all of this. There was a couple of the managers in the team that, you know, we'd seen other awards and we'd seen it in like supplier awards, and we'd seen other people with awards and thinking, you know, wouldn't it be great? So they kind of got their heads together and a little bit sneaky in the background behind the scenes. I can't say I didn't know about it right till the end. I did know they'd put the nomination in. They did say to me that we're going to do this, and are you okay with that? And I was, yes, of course. But they went about writing it. They thought what was the good things to put in the nomination, and a lot of the stuff that they said there. I know they were carefully looking at the advice that's on the website about make sure it answers things that are interesting and are going to sell the story and show the passion. So I know they spent a lot of time thinking about that, and they shared it around with the exec before they nominated it in, and off it went. So yeah, I was really delighted and really proud that they had the confidence and the passion to do that for me, but also them as a team, because it absolutely was about the team.
And so you've just touched on something I was going to ask you there, because I was going to ask you how you felt when you found out that you'd been nominated. So you've covered that and how proud you were, and how lovely that the team took the time out when they're so busy to put that effort into your nomination, like you say, and got the backing of the exec, which is really, you know, important, and credit to them. And then how did you feel when you found out you were a finalist? Because the finalist notification goes to the nominator and it comes to you as well. So again, how did you feel at that part?
It was really, really exciting, because obviously, you know, there's so much talent out there. You know, I know a lot of people in the industry and my peers and the people that do the same type of job as me and other businesses. You know, I've got a huge amount of respect for them, and I think, you know, that many of them are fantastic and know so much. But to get that and think, oh, wow, you know, that's really, we're in for a chance here. You know, someone must have seen something good in that nomination, and it just gave everyone a buzz from that moment forward. It was all that build up to, you know, to the awards, and obviously I know it was not as planned, you know, when it was all started off before the coronavirus stuff, but it was a real boost, that whole period of time waiting and the build up.
And so, you know, then you sort of put in touch with your lead judge. We introduce your lead judge to you, and they get in touch with you and make all the arrangements. And like you say, unfortunately, it wasn't a visit, it was a virtual visit. So I know that your judge got in touch with you, and he interviewed you online. So how was that whole experience, that whole judging process?
It was fine, actually, to be honest. I mean, I'd be lying if you haven't got those nerves. And I think, Jane, you said there before, you feel a bit like you're going to do your GCSEs or something. You're getting a bit of an exam, or you've got your driving test coming up. So it's that kind of thing. You can't get away from that. But I think that just shows you care about it, and, you know, you want to do your best. But to be honest, it was great. It was basically like having a conversation like I'm having with you. It was just being honest with, you know, what the story was. What have we delivered? Why was I proud of what I'd done? Why was I proud of, you know, the team and the deliverables and the results? And it was a really interesting, easy conversation. You know, as we're talking now, I provide some information, you know, that I'd been talked about in the nomination, and it just, you know, led the judges to be able to, you know, have a conversation, I would say, really, more than anything.
Brilliant. I mean, I know Leigh touched on it before, but we do get such fantastic feedback from nominees, whether that's a panel presentation that you've given or a one-on-one interview, that the judges really do put you at ease and make it feel like a conversation. So that's lovely to hear that from you.
I mean, what I would say as well, Jackie, because I know the judges spoke to some of the guys who did the nomination as well. So they spoke to me for you know, for our conversation, but they did spend time with the guys in the team. And I know they both found the judging process, you know, really easy, and they actually really enjoyed it afterwards. So, you know, that's worth noting, I think. That's
lovely. It's nice to hear, isn't it? Whether you win or not, because we've not even got to that stage yet, but whether you win or not, you feel great, the organisation feels great, everybody's on a high. It's just brilliant and nice to reflect on the achievements so far. So what impact has it had on your role or your career, Chris?
So it's a bit of an interesting one, really, isn't it? Because, you know, obviously the whole business organisation change was happening at the same time. You know, it's always a really difficult time from, you know, without going to the ins and outs of ODs and restructures, and it was a very, very uncertain time. You know, we knew we had a bright future moving forward, but it's unsettling. But I think for me personally, it was a reassurance that, you know, it'd been recognised, and, you know, whatever comes in the future, you've got a fantastic set of skills and competence and experience that you can have confidence in. It's not just your view of it, it's someone that, you know, an organisation you really trust and know is well respected has kind of got that view of you and your business and what you've done in your organisation. So I think that was really, really important for me personally at that time. But I think it could be so valid and relevant for so many people in different circumstances and scenarios, depending where you are in your career, whether you're just building it or you want to move into something new, or you think you're changing role or changing organisation. I think that it's so powerful.
Yeah, and I know that you've told me that you've had the opportunity to speak at events as well and been invited to speak, and probably even more so now that you are known as the UK's Complaints Manager of the Year. So I just want to ask you one last question, and it's a quick one. And I know from talking to you, I know how your gran felt when you won, and I know that she loved the presenter that opened your gold envelope. But how did you feel? I know you were at home with your partner watching it. How was it for you when you heard your name read out, Chris?
It was amazing, because we were there, and obviously you go through the bronze, you get to the silver, and I've spoken to some of the other winners as well. And I said, was it just me that felt this? And everyone was like, no. you never think it's going to be you. So kind of like, oh, that's bronze gone, that's silver gone. Oh, well, at least I entered, did well. And then, there's the sort of the freeze moment, and then it's your name. It was so exciting. I mean, it's really, really emotional. I think myself, my team, all the family are watching, everybody was, really emotional about it. So it was fantastic, really good.
I feel like I'm filling up again now just you're talking about it, Chris.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you go. Thanks so much for joining me and sharing all that with me, Chris. That's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, not at all. Thanks, Jackie. Bye-bye.
No problem. So I'm going to hand back to Leigh now, and she's just going to carry on with that advice and talk to some judges. So I hope that that's all been useful.
Do you know what, Jackie? I am with you. That brought goosebumps to my arms listening to Jane and Chris tell us their stories. So yeah, really, really pleased to hear those stories. So I've got a few more pieces of advice to share, and I just really want to summarise what I think you've heard so far, and yet we've still got to hear from the judges. So these are some of the key messages that you would have heard. Tell a story. I think we've heard that several times over the last half hour or so. No waffle. Be clear and concise. Avoid that jargon. You heard Jane talk about that. Really think about your achievements and making it really clear what you've achieved. Where possible, use metrics. It's one of the things that I've always talked about. It's the thing that makes your entry sing. You can talk about what you've achieved from a qualitative perspective, but if that comes through in a metric space, then it just it does put you up there. And looking at the impact, think about the impact on your colleagues, how things are better, easier, how more effective they are. Think about the impact on your customers. Are they having a better experience as a result of whatever it is that you've done? And obviously on the operation and on the business as well. What impact have you really had on the business? And those examples that you might draw in, it's always good to tell in your storytelling to pull in those examples. And I think just make sure that they're relevant. And hit the criteria. It's the classic thing, isn't it? When you do an exam, make sure you answer the question. I remember being told that a lot. Make sure you answer the question. So hit that criteria. Use the toolkit that will be available to you. Yeah, just make sure you hit the criteria and be authentic. I've spoken to quite a few of our judges, and one of the things that they talk about is when you have a story where it shares where there might have been something that wasn't so good, and how you overcame that. So being authentic, we recognise that everything isn't easy. So do share that. So if I may, I am now going to ask James. I'd like to introduce you to James. He is the General Manager, European Sales and Service Centre at Air France KLM. And James, hello, you have been one of our judges for quite a long time.
Yes, I have now. I think, gosh, it's at least 5 years, at least, maybe more, if I was being totally honest.
So you are well versed in the whole process, in what you see, what you hear. You can see those nominations turning into winners. You get that gut feeling when you're watching. So I've got some questions for you.
Sure.
Focusing on those team and organisation categories, what is it that you're really looking for?
Well, and I think the thing is as well, it looks like quite a formal process, and I know when I've been on the other side and done entries myself, you're looking at structuring something, and I will talk a little bit about structure, but I think something to bear in mind, which is fundamental, and from a judge perspective, you're looking for the passion that comes out there and the achievements there, and don't view it so much as a process, but look at it as more of a celebration of your achievements. And I think with that in mind, underpinning all aspects of the judging process, I think that's something that really comes across in that authentic manner, if that kind of optic is kept in mind at the time that people are delivering it. Saying that, I will talk a little bit about structure, because the content is key, And I think that really it's like the beginning, the middle and the end, which really I think we like to see as judges. We're really the beginning being the why, the middle being the how, and then the end being the what in terms of what has been achieved. And I think if those three elements there very basically are conveyed concisely and with passion, it tells what I think is really the thing that puts everything together, an extremely good story. And as judges, we're very simple people. We love a story. We really do. And all of these stories normally have a happy ending as well. So it's great. So that being, these awards really being a celebration of that, if we can see that, the why, what strategically, what was the purpose, the context of this, you know, why go through this, why, you know, why were you know, this whole thing come about in the first place, how was it achieved in terms of the method, and then at the end, you know, what was achieved from a business perspective, from a customer perspective, and also from a colleague perspective as well, which seems like a lot, but I think fundamentally I think that, you know, those authentic stories come through so much better if that approach is adhered to.
Yeah, do you know what? I couldn't agree more. And I think it's when you're completing that nomination form and you're going through the writing that story, is there anything in particular within that story that you'll be looking for?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, everything in there, whatever, it should back up and should really add value to that submission. So we've said it before, no waffle, and I think, as you said previously as well, if there were mistakes, if there were things that went wrong along the way, it happens. And I think we really appreciate that as judges, that not only, you know, that there's a plan, or, you know, you've got a strategy, but we know the reality of things, that things go wrong. How do you cope with that? You know, what were the, you know, what happened there? I think that really does contribute to making it very authentic. So definitely keep it concise, keep to your story, keep that underlying narrative in there as well that follows that through, and ensure that does come across as, you know, this is what we've achieved, and it's a celebration of that. Yeah,
absolutely. So what advice would you give people that are thinking about whether to nominate, but maybe haven't quite made that decision?
I think it came back to what we said before, just do it. I don't think there's nothing to lose. There really isn't. It is a really good process, regardless of whether people make the cut. And I know, talking from personal experience, when we were thinking as an organisation a few years ago to go ahead with something with social media back in 2013, I think, we did it. We thought there was something to celebrate. We didn't quite make the cut in the first year, but we got great feedback. We came back the next year, and the team won it. And I think it was a great learning experience. It enables you, at the very least, to benchmark against some very good stories and a great and very professional industry that we have here in the UK. So being part of that, I think, is extremely important for any organisation, and it does create a buzz within an organisation. And I've seen that from my own organisation for going entering the awards ourselves, but also as well as a judge, seeing panelists actually present. There is a buzz there as well. It really does look that, and it is really nice to see customer experience professionals sharing really good stories. We end up learning as judges, and it's great, and it is quite fulfilling professionally and also personally to see that. So there really is nothing to lose. It is a great experience. Go for it.
Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate you taking time out to share your thoughts and your views and your advice today.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Really appreciate that. So Sarah, if I may invite you to join us on screen. And James and Sarah are both head judges, so both have lots of experience behind them. And Sarah, hopefully you're there and joining us on video and unmuting yourself.
Yep, I'm here.
Fabulous. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Leigh. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So let's have a little focus on the individual categories, if I may. and get your advice around what is it that you're looking for when people are entering those individual categories, the complaints manager of the year, the resource planning manager of the year, support manager of the year. What is it that you're looking for in those categories?
I think that you spoke earlier about how important people are in our industry and to the CCMA. So it really is those people skills that we're looking for. It's not just that, Lo. We are looking for the whole well-rounded skill set. People that can demonstrate really what their impact is on the operation. We want people that are energetic and really can energize others. But most importantly, as you said, really know the numbers. What are their KPIs? What is their attrition? What is their absence? So yeah, really, really good rounded skill set and people that make people smile.
That's a good shout. And from your experience, what's the biggest kind of mistakes that you see when people are going through that nomination process? What should people avoid doing?
So James spoke about jargon. So use an internal language, things that the judges won't really understand, so there won't be a benefit to the process. So abbreviations, making assumptions that the judges know your business, because we don't. And if you do that, you'll then fail to tell your story. And stories, we've all talked about them today, they're so important throughout the process. It also needs to be authentic, so keep it real. We really don't want a sales pitch. We just want to hear your story and what achievements that you've had over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I did. You know what? And a really good point there. No sales pitches. Yeah, the judges aren't in the room to buy. They want to know really what you've done and what you've achieved. I think that's a good point there. And from your perspective, what advice would you be giving those that are thinking about entering and they're not quite sure? What advice would you give?
It is a really good way to benchmark your very best people. The whole process is so rewarding. You know, you've heard about those that have been successful and the impact that it's had not only on their careers, but you know, how the team feel about the work that they do. So as a number of everyone has said today, just go for it. You know, you gain so much from the process. What have you got to lose?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the time that you give as a volunteer judge on the awards program as well. So thank you so much. So now you've heard from the judges, you've heard from some of our winners, and hopefully that's given you the confidence to complete that nomination form and enter, and given you some advice along the way. And then once you've got to that those final stages, you've done the nomination process, you've made it to being a finalist, you've been through that judging process, meeting the judges, and we get to the point where actually we're announcing the winners. So we have a date in the diary of Thursday, the 15th of July, 2021. It's just before the school holidays. And for the last, oh, goodness knows how many years, we have been announcing the winners at the brewery in London. And there's over 750 people from across the industry that get together. And it's just an amazing experience. We always end up having a waiting list. Now, obviously, we are monitoring the current situation really closely. And at this time, I have a lot of confidence that we will be able to go ahead. However, we are monitoring the situation, and if it is unsafe to do so, then we would look at alternatives. It's obviously impossible to make any decisions right now, but if I reflect on last year, what we did, when we couldn't go live, we initially postponed the awards program for a couple of months to when we thought we could put on a live event. And when it became obvious that that wasn't possible, we put on a virtual program. And hopefully you remember the numbers from the start of this this webinar, where we were talking about 11,000 people have actually viewed the program. So so wherever we end up, what's really, really important to us as organisers, to the awards programme, to the industry, but really important to you, is that you get your moment as finalists. and then as winners, and we will absolutely be making sure that is as special as we can possibly get it. So on the assumption that we go ahead on the 15th of July at the brewery, it is an amazing evening, not to be missed. There's a real sense of community and a real sense of industry support for each other. 4-course meal, there's dancing, and I suspect that after the year we've just had, it will be more electric than ever. So I would encourage you to enter so that you can be part of that evening as well. So final slide, and that is where you can go for some help. So after the session today, we will be sending out a toolkit to all those that have joined us today. You can also download that toolkit from our website, ukcontactcentereawards.co.uk. It's not the CCMA site, it is ukcontactcentereawards.co.uk. Please do follow us on social. So we've got the hashtag UKNCCA. You can follow all the news through the CCMA LinkedIn page. We will be sharing updates there. On Twitter, CCMA Talk. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, give us a call. And of course, Jackie is there at the end of the line, certainly at the end of her emails, looking out for your questions. So please don't hesitate to drop her a line if you've got any questions at all. We have had some questions through the system today, but and anything that we haven't got to, we will come back to you on. So for now, thank you very much. Thank you so much to Jane and Chris, our previous winners, for sharing your advice. Thank you so much to Sarah and James for giving up your time as well. I know it's really busy at the moment, for joining us. Thank you for joining us today. Again, I know it's very busy, so really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and get some advice on how to get the most out of the programme. And thank you, Jackie, once again for taking us through this journey. And Jackie is here to help. I am also here to help. So from us today here at the CCMA, thank you very much. Good luck with your entries, and hey, look forward to seeing you on the 15th of July. Take care. Bye-bye.